The desert of Arithus did not forgive mistakes. It did not care about rank, bravery, or excuses. It swallowed ships, erased footprints, and turned strong men into bones under red sand. Caden Vale knew this very well. Still, he walked. His boots sank into the hot crimson dunes as if the planet was trying to eat him slowly. His visor blinked warning signs in bright orange letters. Heat level, extreme. Hydration, critical. Turn back. He ignored them all. I get it, he muttered. You don't like me either. His transport ship had failed 2 days ago. Engine meltdown. Emergency landing. Then explosion. He had been lucky to survive. Lucky. That word felt like a joke now. The colony was 3 days away by foot. He had half a canteen of water left. And no rescue signal. The desert stretched endlessly in every direction. The sun burned overhead, turning the air into liquid fire. Even his shadow looked tired. Then he saw something strange. A shape in the distance. Dark metal. Wreckage. Another ship. Caden frowned. That's either very good news, or very bad news. He walked toward it. The wreck was half buried in sand, twisted like a broken skeleton. The hull was not human design. It was smooth. Elegant. Foreign. Great, he sighed. Alien drama. Then he saw her. She lay near the wreckage, half covered in sand. Blue skin. Long golden hair. Tall, elegant ears that curved slightly backward. At first, he thought she was a hallucination. He blinked twice. She didn't disappear. She was breathing. Weakly. Her lips were cracked from dehydration. Her skin had lost its glow. She looked powerful even while dying. Caden swallowed hard. He checked his canteen. Very little water left. If he gave it to her, he might not survive the walk back. If he didn't, she would die here. Alone. The desert wind moved softly across the sand. He sighed deeply. Yeah, okay. Fine. I hate this planet. He knelt beside her. Her skin was burning hot from the sun. Carefully, he lifted her head and tilted the canteen to her lips. The last clean water he had. She swallowed slowly. Weakly. Her golden eyes opened. They were bright. Sharp. Confused. She stared at him like she was trying to understand what kind of creature he was. Easy, he whispered. Don't drink too fast. That's all I've got. And I would prefer not to die dramatically. Her ears twitched slightly. That tiny movement felt like victory. He dragged broken ship panels together and built a small shelter. It was ugly. It was weak. But it created shade. During the day, he fanned her with scrap metal. At night, he wrapped her in his thermal cloak and pretended he was not freezing. She did not speak. She only watched him. Studied him. The next morning, she could sit up. By afternoon, she could stand. They began walking together toward the distant colony. She was silent. He was not. So, I'm Caden. Human. Earth. We mostly survive through stubbornness and bad decisions. No answer. He pointed at himself. Human. Then pointed at her. She paused. Then softly spoke a word in her language. It sounded musical. Ancient. Powerful. He tried repeating it. She shook her head slightly. Apparently he said it wrong. Around midday, the desert shook. Sand exploded upward. A massive sand beast rose from beneath the dunes. Its body shimmered like crystal glass. Its mouth opened wide, full of jagged energy shards. Caden froze. Oh no. Absolutely not. The creature lunged. Before it reached him, the alien woman lifted her wrist. A blue-white beam shot forward. The sand beast shattered into glowing dust. Silence returned. Caden stared at her. I was not emotionally prepared for that. She looked tired but calm. Stronger now. That night, under violet lightning storms in the distance, she finally spoke again. Just one word. The same word as before. She touched his chest lightly when she said it. He didn't understand it. But he felt it. The next morning, the sky changed. A deep metallic hum echoed across the desert. Caden looked up. Ships. Huge silver warships descended from the clouds. Not small transports. Not patrol units. Royal Fleet class. His stomach dropped. The alien woman stood tall now. Different. Stronger. Confident. The ships landed with thunderous force. Soldiers in silver armor marched out in perfect formation. A tall figure stepped forward and bowed deeply. "Your Majesty," he said. Caden blinked. He looked at her. Then back at the kneeling army. Then at her again. "You have got to be kidding me." She stepped forward. The soldiers dropped to one knee. Every single one. The Chancellor explained quickly. Assassination attempt. Escape pod crash. Missing ruler. Entire empire searching. She was not just important. She ruled over 40 star systems. She commanded fleets powerful enough to erase civilizations. She was the Empress of the Illyrian Dominion. And he had given her his last water. Caden rubbed his face slowly. "I saved an Empress. Of course I did." She turned toward him. No crown. No guards. Just her. For a moment, she was the same woman who almost died in the sand. She stepped closer. Her golden eyes softened. She placed 2 fingers against his chest. Spoke that word again. He wished he knew what it meant. The soldiers waited respectfully. The Chancellor looked slightly nervous. Caden cleared his throat. "Well, I guess this is where you go back to ruling the galaxy." She didn't move. He gave a small smile. "Try not to crash again." Her ears twitched. That was her version of laughter. She stepped back. Royal posture returned. The ramp lowered from the flagship. She walked toward it. Halfway up, she stopped. Turned back. Looked at him one last time. Then disappeared inside. The ships rose into the sky. Within seconds, they were gone. Only wind remained. Caden stood alone again. The desert looked the same. But something inside him had changed. He felt taller somehow. Stronger. Not because he saved a queen. But because he chose kindness when no one was watching. 3 days later, he reached the human colony. Sunburned. Exhausted. Almost delirious. His commander stared at him in shock. "You survived that alone." Caden shrugged. "Mostly." Life returned to normal. Patrol missions. Supply runs. Sandstorms. Months passed. Then one evening, every communication screen in the colony flickered. Emergency broadcast override. The symbol of the Illyrian Dominion filled the sky. Citizens froze. A massive royal fleet appeared in orbit above the planet. Panic spread instantly. Human defense systems powered up. Weapons charged. Caden stared at the screen. Oh no. A transmission opened. The Empress appeared. In full royal armor. Crown of silver light above her head. Her voice echoed across the colony. "People of Earth. Lower your weapons." Silence. She continued. "Your world will not be harmed." Human commanders exchanged confused looks. She raised one hand. "Our empire owes a life debt to one human." Caden's stomach dropped. "Do not say my name," he whispered to the screen. She said it clearly. "Caden Vale." The entire command center turned to look at him. Very slowly. He smiled weakly. "This is a misunderstanding." The Empress continued. "This human gave his final water to save me. He expected nothing in return. He acted without fear. Without knowledge of my title." Her golden eyes seemed to look directly at him through the screen. "In our culture, such an act binds empires." The fleet behind her lit up. Not weapons. Energy shields. Trade vessels. Support ships. "I declare Earth under Illyrian protection." Gasps filled the room. She was offering alliance. Protection. Trade. Technology beyond imagination. All because of one human's compassion. She finished with one final sentence. "And to the human who walked beside me in the desert." She spoke that word again. This time, translation software caught up. The screen displayed the meaning. Heartbound. The room fell silent. Kaden stopped breathing. She ended the transmission. The fleet remained peacefully in orbit. Human leaders rushed into emergency negotiations. Scientists panicked with excitement. Politicians nearly fainted. And Kaden stood there, staring at the blank screen. Heartbound. He gave away one canteen of water. He changed the fate of a planet. Weeks later, a royal shuttle landed personally at the colony. Not an army. Not a fleet. Just her. She stepped out alone. No crown. No armor. Only simple royal attire. The colony went silent as she walked toward him. He felt suddenly very aware of his dusty boots. "You didn't have to do all this," he said quietly. "Yes," she replied softly. "I did." Her voice was stronger now. Confident. But still warm. In our empire, power is respected. Strength is honored. She stepped closer. But compassion is sacred. She looked at him not as a ruler, but as the man who chose to save a stranger. "You walked beside me when I was nothing." Kaden swallowed. "You were never nothing." For a moment, neither spoke. Then she extended her hand. Not as an empress, but as a woman. "Walk beside me again," she said. Not a command. An invitation. The human colony watched history change in real time. Kaden hesitated only a second. Then he took her hand. The desert of Arithas had tested him. It had burned him. Nearly killed him. But it had revealed something simple and powerful. Humanity was not strong because of weapons. Not because of ships. Not because of numbers. Humanity was strong because when faced with a dying stranger, a human would give their last drop of water. And sometimes, the galaxy noticed. Kaden Vale could still feel the warmth of her hand in his. The desert was gone now, replaced by polished floors, soft light, and a scent of metal and spice he didn't recognize. He had stepped into a world built on orders, hierarchy, and whispers. The Illyrian Dominion was enormous, ships and towers and fleets beyond human comprehension. Yet all of it faded the moment she looked at him. She led him through long hallways, corridors lined with glowing panels. Guards moved silently, eyes sharp, hands never far from weapons, but somehow no one dared speak. Kaden's boots made a hollow sound on the floor. Every echo felt like it was announcing him, the human who walked beside the Empress. Finally, they arrived at a chamber the size of 3 Earth auditoriums. Windows stretched from floor to ceiling, showing the silver sky, streaked with flying crafts and distant planets in orbit. The room itself was a mix of elegance and power, metal, crystal, and light forming a space that demanded obedience. She turned to him. "Sit," she said. Her voice carried authority, but it was softer than he had expected. He did. "Do you understand," she continued, "why you are here?" I think so." Kaden answered cautiously. "I gave you my water. You flew in with all this empire stuff. I'm guessing that's why I'm sitting in a giant room instead of sleeping on sand." Her lips curved slightly. That tiny smile felt like a shield lifting. "Yes," she said. "But it is more than that. Your choice to act without expectation has consequences. Consequences even I cannot fully predict." Kaden nodded slowly. "Consequences like an army thanking me by dropping my daily stress level to 0. She tilted her head, clearly amused. But before she could speak further, the room's doors slid open. Several Illyrian council members entered. Tall figures in ceremonial robes, each color representing rank, influence, and, Kaden assumed, danger. They did not smile. They did not nod. They watched. Kaden felt suddenly very small. "This human," the tallest one said, voice low and controlled, "walked beside your life while you were defenseless." "Yes," she replied simply. "And he saved me." Without hesitation. There was a murmur among the council. Low, tense. One of the councillors stepped forward. His robes were deep crimson, embroidered with symbols Kaden did not recognize. "Empress. Humans are unpredictable. Their actions are impulsive. They have no understanding of strategy, protocol, or duty. Are you certain we can trust him?" Kaden blinked. He could feel her gaze on him. It was both a warning and reassurance. Yes, she said, calm and firm. I have observed his character. Human or not, he acted with compassion when others might have failed. That is strength. The counselor's lips pressed into a thin line. Strength. Empress, the galaxy is not ruled by compassion. You cannot govern 40 worlds with human sentimentality. Perhaps not, she said, her eyes narrowing slightly. But I am not a leader of 40 worlds because I ignore human values. I am a leader because I choose when to act and when to trust. Today, I chose both. Silence followed. It was thick. Oppressive. Caden felt it pressing against his chest. He shifted in his seat. So, can I eat lunch now? The Empress looked at him. For a second, Caden worried he had said something wrong. But then she chuckled, a rare sound, soft and musical, that made the guards glance at one another in surprise. You may eat, she said. Soon, food appeared, a tray of shimmering blue and silver cubes that smelled faintly of citrus and spice. Caden hesitated. It looked like it belonged more in a laboratory than a stomach. He took a bite. Flavor exploded across his tongue. Sweet, salty, warm, and alive. He blinked. Good? She asked. Best thing I've eaten since the desert tried to kill me, he replied. She only smiled. Later, she led him to another chamber, smaller, more private. It was filled with holographic maps, fleet routes, and glowing symbols representing different planetary systems. This, she said, is my command center. I oversee everything from here: fleets, diplomacy, trade, security. And now, you will see why your choice matters. Caden leaned in, trying to follow the glowing lines. So, basically, I saved you, and now I get a front row seat to space politics. Not exactly, she said. Her expression darkened. You get a chance to survive the consequences. Before he could ask, an alarm sounded. A red light pulsed across the room. Emergency alert, she said, stepping forward. An assassination attempt. Not on me directly, yet. But someone has tried to destabilize the outer systems while I was missing. Caden swallowed. And you think they'll come here? She nodded. They will. They know I survived. They know I owe nothing to protocol. They will try again. Soon. The two of them moved quickly, preparing the chamber. Defense systems activated, shields rising across the room, energy barriers sliding into place. Soldiers moved with precision around them. Caden felt entirely out of place. I know how to shoot a gun, he said weakly. But lasers. And shields. And fleets. She glanced at him. You do not need to know how everything works. You only need to act when required. Minutes passed in tense silence. Then the walls shimmered, and a figure appeared, a masked agent, clad in black, moving with near-inhuman speed. Target is human, the agent said in Illyrian, voice low, controlled. Caden froze. She didn't move. Not yet. Her hand went to the wrist device she had used in the desert. Caden's heart raced. Wait. I'm not the important one here, right? Her eyes narrowed. You are the reason they failed. And now, they have sent someone like you to end it. The agent struck. Fast. Precise. Caden barely had time to duck behind a console. Blue energy arcs lanced through the room, and the air smelled of ozone and burnt metal. The Empress moved like lightning, her wrist device firing continuous beams that disintegrated the attacker's weapons and slowed his advance. Caden ducked again, unsure if he was helping or just getting in the way. Then she shouted, "Move!" He followed her as she vaulted over a console, leading him toward a secure escape corridor. The agent recovered faster than he expected, laser blades slicing the air inches from their heads. Okay, Caden gasped. Maybe humans should stick to deserts. Less deadly aliens, more sand, less death. She shot him a glance. Not angry, but warning. They entered the corridor. Caden's boots slipped slightly on the smooth floor. She reached out, steadying him without breaking stride. I didn't think someone human could surprise me, she said quietly. Yeah, he replied. Well, I surprise myself most days. Survival skill number 1. Panic creatively. Her lips twitched. For the first time in days, Kaden saw her truly relaxed. They reached a security chamber, a safe room with reinforced walls and limited access. She activated it, and the doors slid shut. The room hummed quietly, shields shimmering. Kaden slumped against the wall. So, what now? She leaned against the opposite wall, eyes scanning the holographic maps. Now we wait. And plan. Whoever sent that agent will try again. Soon. I must find them before they strike at the heart of the Dominion, or worse, Earth. Kaden nodded, unsure if he fully understood. But the clarity in her eyes made him feel small yet part of something immense. Why me? He asked quietly. She glanced at him. Because you act without expectation. Because when it matters most, you chose life, for someone who could have ignored you. That is rare. Kaden swallowed. You're saying, giving away my water made me valuable? She shook her head. Not valuable. Trusted. Strong. Dangerous. Kaden tilted his head. Dangerous. That did not feel right. Before he could ask further, the room shook violently. Alarms blared. The holographic maps flickered. Attack, she shouted. Outside, sensors showed a fleet approaching at impossible speed, cloaked ships, weapons charged, each one a threat to entire planets. Kaden froze. Seriously? Already? Yes, she said. Her hand moved to her wrist device. They underestimated me once. They will not do it again. The attack began. Energy beams streaked across the sky. The fleet outside clashed with incoming vessels, explosions lighting the atmosphere like violent stars. Kaden pressed himself against the wall, utterly overwhelmed. You saved me, she said, voice cutting through the noise. Now survive. Stand. Learn. He blinked. Learn what? This is cosmic-level chaos. You will learn, she replied, calm and resolute. That bravery does not end in the desert. It begins everywhere else. Kaden's stomach sank. He looked at her, saw no fear. Only resolve. And something else. Trust. That night, as the battle raged outside, she taught him. Not strategy. Not fleet commands. Not politics. She taught him what he had done in the desert. Choice, compassion, and courage. He fired his first real weapon, a small sidearm, but this time with focus. He followed her instructions. He acted without expectation. Hours passed like minutes. The outside world became a blur of lights, explosions, and shadows. By dawn, the attackers were gone. Cloaked ships fled or were destroyed. The Dominion fleet stood victorious. Kaden was exhausted, covered in sweat and grime. She looked at him. Eyes golden, fierce, alive. You survived, she said softly. And in doing so, you changed more than one fate. He blinked. I did my part. No, she replied. You did more than your part. You remind me why humanity matters, even when the galaxy seems against it. Kaden tried to process. This was bigger than deserts, bigger than empires, bigger than anything he had ever imagined. He swallowed. So, next time someone dies in the desert, I just save them, and suddenly I'm a galactic hero. She laughed softly. Not a hero. A witness. A participant. But yes, sometimes, it is enough. For the first time, Kaden felt something like pride. Not because he had survived the desert, or the attack, or even the fleet. But because he had acted without selfishness. And somehow, the galaxy had noticed. Hours later, she escorted him to the observation deck. Outside, fleets of Illyrian vessels sailed across the planets like silver ribbons. Earth had been spared. And Kaden realized, for the first time, he had a choice. He could return to his old life. Go back to the human colony. Pretend it had all been a dream. Or, he could stay. Learn. Fight. Walk beside someone who trusted him with more than water. He looked at her. Her ears twitched slightly in anticipation. Kaden smiled. Okay. Let's see where this goes. She extended her hand. He took it. And together, they watched the stars, the galaxy, and possibilities unfold. Because sometimes, saving one life meant changing the fate of billions. And sometimes, a human could be enough.